Hello 108 students, Mr. McHugh back with you here on section 7.2. We are going to tackle page 4. We're going to tackle a couple concepts here that maybe take a little bit to explain here. So I'm going to jump right in here with example 5, and here's the problem, and this matches right out of the book here, so you can follow along. I'm on page 375 in the book here, and you look at the denominators and it's y minus 2, and then you notice the other denominator is 2 minus y. And for me, I came up with this phrase, Texas Longhorn side flop. And what I'm trying to do is to get you to recognize pattern recognition, so when you hear the rules of what you're supposed to do to make life easier, it's going to stick with you. Because if you just, again, the short-term memory, if you just plug this in and say yeah, then you're going to forget it for the tests or for the finals if we have it, or even for 143. Okay, now what's missing up here is I want to take y minus 2 and I want to divide it by 2 minus y, and I just took these two denominators, and I'm doing this as to prove something here to you, so bear with me. Now here's the deal. What you have here is what, class? Can you guys tell me what this is? Okay, yes, hopefully you're telling me it's the Texas flop, and it all equals -1. Okay, now what I want to do here is I want to divide this by a +1, and I want you guys to follow along here. And what happens when you have a proportion, two ratios set equal to each other? You're allowed to cross multiply. So I am going to take y minus 2 and I'm going to multiply it by a +1, and I'm going to set that equal to, watch this, 2 minus y times a -1. Now I'm hoping everybody sees this. This was, let me get my button up here again, hold on a second. This is the Texas, well, I'm sorry, I cross multiply. That's, I just want you to see in green. I cross multiply. Now I got y minus 2 times 1, so that doesn't affect anything, is almost equivalent to 2 minus y, except for what little factor? A -1. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to prove to you. So what they have you do here is notice the pattern. This is me talking to you. Notice the pattern. Put up your right hand, make your Texas hook'em horn hand shape. Line up with your index finger on the Y. Too bad you can't see me. I'm going to make a video on this, by the way. Y, put your pinky on the 2 and flip it sideways. Notice how they match. Notice the subtraction is in both of them. When you see this pattern, what you're going to do is you're going to recognize the first LCD is your LCD. The first denominator, y minus 2, is the LCD. And all you're going to do is multiply 2 minus y, and you're going to multiply it by that -1, and then you're going to stack it, because again, that's equivalent to 1. Okay, that once you know and you've digested what the heck's going on, you're going to say, whenever I see the Texas side flop, all I do is the first denominator is the LCD, the second one I multiply by -1. Yes, that's all you got to do. So there is your denominator. Now you've got y. Now 8 times -1 is -8, and you are done. All that explaining for something that's fairly easy. Okay. Okay, watch the video when I make it here to see if you're struggling with that a little bit there. But try to follow this reasoning as to why you do it. You have the Texas flop, and if you cross multiply, the only difference between a y plus 2 and a 2 minus y is that -1 factor. Okay, so let's move on here. Let's tackle example 6, and we are on page 376. Okay, it's just to help you follow along in the book here. Okay, that's our page number. Now, we are going to have 3 rational expressions, adding and subtracting them, and here's the original problem up here. Okay, now, when you see these denominators, ask yourself, can you factor them? The first one, no, but leave the parentheses. X, you bring it down, x squared minus 2x. Hopefully you've seen the factoring. You point out the GCF of f. left with x minus 2. Okay, that's your first key step. Now you needed to figure out the LCD. Now look at each of the denominators. X minus 2 has got to be part of the LCD. X, the factor x, got to be part of the LCD. Notice the multiplication going in between them. Good news, look at this third term. You've already got the x, you already had the x minus 2, so you're done. You remember the tiebreaker rule. Okay, so that's the LCD. So what I did was I took each original problem and I asked myself, what do I need to multiply by to get the LCD down the bottom? So x quantity, x minus 2 times x is missing, that's the missing factor, stack it. Over here you've got the x, you're missing the x minus 2, stack it, and you're on your way. Good news over here, you've already got both you have the LCD with the factors x and x minus 2, nothing to do, no change. Okay, what's 3 times x? 3x. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10, minus 6. All under the LCD now. That's why you did that. So you have one denominator, LCD. Now you're up here and you've got 3x plus 5x. That adds up to give you 8x minus 16. 10 minus 6. And you think you're done, and then you got to say the word factor, factor, factor. And I pull out an 8. I'm left with x minus 2. In the denominator, I've got x and I've got x minus 2. You pull out your psi, Ninja Turtle psi, cross out common factors, and you're left with 8 divided by x. Okay, not too bad. A little bit of work. Gotta be just patient. I keep saying this over and over again, but you've got to be willing to show your work and your details, so if you get hung up, you can find your mistakes. Okay, example 7 on page, same page, 376. Now, what I want you to do here is look at this on the book, and I want you to see what the original problem is. Okay, and what we did right off the bat was I took the original problem and I factored the denominator. So I did not write the original problem. So when you factor the denominators, you get m minus 3 times m plus 1 and m minus 4. Everything in parentheses is the original. The brackets is what you're going to use to get the LCD. So over here, 2m minus 3 is an original problem. M minus 3 times m minus 2 is part of the original problem, and that was factored. So please look at the original problem so you can see that step. Okay, now we need to figure out the LCD. Each factor has got to be in it. So m minus 3 has got to be a factor. M plus 1 has got to be a factor. M minus 3 is already there. M minus 2 I added. M plus 1 we already we already have that one. So this is the LCD right here. These three parentheses. Okay, go back up to the first rational expression. What's missing out of these? You have m minus 3, m plus 1. Which one's missing? M minus 2. So write it and stack it. That gives you your equivalency. Come over here. You got the m minus 3. You got the m minus 2. Which one are you missing? M plus 1. Write it and stack it. Okay, if you get that write and stack idea, what is the missing factors to get the LCD? You're halfway there. Okay, now you got subtraction. You got to watch that. So now I took the LCD and I wrote it down, and I did, look at this, parentheses m plus 4 times m minus 2. I did FOIL. To go from here to here, we did FOIL. Okay, over here I did FOIL again, and then I watched that minus term because then that's going to switch the sign, so you got to be careful on that. Okay, up in the numerator I'm going to combine like terms. M squared minus 2m squared is minus m squared. 2m minus 2m cancels out. Watch that minus sign. You're left with a plus 3m here, and combining the constants you get a negative 5, all divided by the LCD. Okay, now you leave it here because if you try to factor the denominator, the top half, you cannot factor it, so therefore you leave it in that form. Okay, that one's a little tough. There'll be one or two problems like those on the homework here. My suggestions would be figure out the missing factors to get the LCDs, write them down and stack them. And then from there, write the LCD and go ahead and do the multiplication and watch the minus sign. Okay, folks, we've been working hard here on section 7.2. Give yourselves a double check mark here. We've done that. So we've wrapped up 7.2, and when I see you back, we'll be working on section 7.3, complex fractions. Okay, so I'm signing off for now. Take care, and I'll see you next video. Bye.